we're creating these mini businesses every time we create these partnerships, and we're just not even like aware that this is what we're doing. So I want to create, like, shine a light on that.
Definitely. And I would say that the more Katya and I get in alignment with each other, the quicker and better the output is. I feel like, and I'm going to be hard on myself because I always am, I always feel like it takes me longer. She's just
Did you
quick.
say
She's quick.
always, Alex? Okay, quick thing. When you say always or never, it exposes a belief system. So you get to choose whether you want to keep that or not. But yes, you have a belief that she's always quicker. And I will say that Kevin and I have a similar thing where I finally had some therapy moments with ChatGPT, and it said, Jamie, you're in the small percentage of the world that gets an instant knowing and an instant download, and your husband needs 3 days to a week to think about every conversation that you just talked about.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, ChatGPT. Thank you, Jamie. I need 3 to 5 days to get, to drag my grounded butt to wherever the air is, and I'll get there. I'm doing the best I can. I'm a very grounded individual. Welcome back to the Pear Genius Podcast, you bunch of geniuses. I've been marinating on that today. I was like, you know what? I'm going to call everybody that's listening to this podcast a genius. I used to do that, and I'm going to do it again. You are pretty smart if you're joining us for the return of Jaime White, the Jaime White, who's been such an awesome person in our lives, an amazing guest, an amazing promoter of us. We've met so many new people because of you. Yeah, it's fantastic. Thank you, Jamie, for coming back. And I actually had a solar return reading with the Sandy Mulroy, repeat guest. And she told me that I'm not crazy, that I need to go inwards this year. And there's a reason why I'm not being so outwards. So it's nice to have somebody like Jamie go outwards for me. And then I can just kind of do my magic without draining all my energy. So welcome, Jamie. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you for accepting all my introductions, because the reason I keep sending people to you is because you're still accepting them. I have some people that send me emails and they say, I can't follow up with as many introductions as you send me. So if you could please hold off for a bit, I need to catch up.
Oh, man. Well, just so everybody knows, Jamie is the founder of the Believe Crew. Her and her husband, Kevin, moved from Wisconsin to Mexico, stole my idea and Kathy's idea, living our dream, living our life right now. We're watching this in real time as we suffer in Canada, and hopefully we are just going to like hit the eject button. As soon as Alora turns 18, boom, we're on the way. We're going to start living the dream, because Jamie paved the way. We already know that it can be done.
It's true. It's true. I'm amazed actually at how many people want to, and it's like this hidden secret, very few people talk about. But because we're here and all of a sudden they're like, can we ask you some questions? Like, how did you do it? How much does it cost? And there's something as simple as we take what we think we know and we want to bring it with us. And the reality is what you know isn't very helpful. Like I kind of joke, learning how to mow the lawn didn't help us live where we live now. Knowing how to start a lawnmower that doesn't look like it's going to start, or that's run out of gas. It's not going to help you to know those things. And one of the things that's just simple is the idea that you have to live in, like, say, a 3-bedroom home, like whatever it is that you have that you think you need somewhere else. I found that it's not true, because down here, well, let me say it from this perspective. When we lived in the States, we had a house that people could come visit us at, stay at, that our kids could stay at, that we could host people at. And the reality is I don't need that same thing down here. When my kids come to visit now, I can rent them a house next door for the week. And like, we don't have to stay in the same place. Does that make sense? And so just the shift in like the ideas that we have about something, that we think it has to be a certain way. And I'm just really, really glad that when we moved last year, that I knew the calling was to get rid of all of our stuff and not worry about what was next, and like just go and be willing to explore. And that has been the most beautiful gift.
For sure.
Definitely.
One thing that we were talking yesterday about with, I think, was it the psychologist? We were talking about Alora. She's going to go and have a couple sessions with a psychologist. She was talking about when her anxiety started, and apparently the root cause of her anxiety was us selling our things, leaving Manitoba, coming to
Mm-hmm.
Alberta, and starting a new life. That ungrounding, that unknowing. Help me out, dear. What am I trying to say? The fear of the unknown. She needs to have everything kind of planned out, right?
That, and she needs the stability. Sure. So her chart is ruled by, she's a double Taurus, like her moon and her rising. So for her body to heal, she needs comfort things around her, fuzzy blankets and the family and pictures of things and access to relatives. So that is really important to her, and her figuring that out, I think, is part of the journey, right? I mean, just because you don't have it in one place doesn't mean you can't rebuild it in another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's a huge challenge because I look at all the boys' charts and who they are as people, and one, you know, likes to eat at night, one likes to eat with low sound, one likes to eat with high sound, and at some point I'm just like, guys, you're gonna have therapy after you leave because I don't know how to do this otherwise. There's gonna be something we mess up.
Especially when they're all different.
They're so different. And what
And
I
you're outnumbered.
realized too, we're outnumbered. And what I realized too is that every kid is raised in a totally different environment. Like even though we're the same parents and we're continuing to parent the whole time, because of society changes, because I mean, like we're in the place of multiple generations at this point, potentially 23 years between all the kids by the time we have our last one. And there's just, yeah, super fun. I would love to ask you guys a few questions if you're up for it. Like there's some things that have been on my mind that I'm just super curious about. Be open for it?
Definitely.
You know what's so amazing about that is that Alex told me you were coming on. And so I'm like, okay, what are we talking to Jaime about? What is supposed to come through? And it was just this wide open space of, I think she's bringing something to the table.
Oh, that's so fun. I love how connected and intuitive you guys are. So the thing that's been on my mind is this shift energetically that's happened and been happening sort of in the world and what I'm seeing. And one of the things that I'm noticing is I feel like marketing and branding companies are almost, you could say, getting hit first, if that makes sense. Like, let's take manufacturing companies and manufacturing owners. I don't know that they feel the shift in the same way that companies that are more intuitive, companies that, like when I think about marketing and branding companies, you're sort of a forerunner in business development, if that makes sense, like a front runner. Is that maybe a better way to say it? And so I've been noticing this shift of where the way that we've done business before isn't going to work in the next what's here, what's coming. We could take AI, we could take women, we could take next gens, whatever the next generation. Like look at it from whatever angle you want. But I really feel like I'm seeing this pattern specifically in branding and marketing where there's personal branding coming into play. And I'm just thinking about your industry and the shift that I see. And I'm wondering sort of if you feel that too. Like, I don't think
big
it's
time.
Yeah.
It's not you. I mean, yeah, you've got it. Like the way I'm sensing it is that design agencies, branding agencies, so I'm talking about businesses that have multiple people running it, contributing, their focus is your audience. Their focus is to make sure that they put something together in terms of all the elements that reach the target audience. The problem with that is that the focus is taken off the actual person that you're branding for. When you bring in someone like the brand Alchemist, like so what Alex and I do, the focus is the person's soul branding. And this is an educational piece that I have to keep coming back to. It's like branding is not what it used to be. Now it's soul branding, meaning your frequency, your essence has to lead everything. That's what's important because people are interacting with your energy first. We're becoming more intuitive, which means your branding has to become more intuitive to support that.
This is you're nailing it. And the idea, what's coming to mind is the idea of resonance or resonant. Like I want to resonate with you. I want to connect with you before I mean, we joke like when people are meant to work with us, it's sort of like it's a yes, and I don't even know why. You know, that their reaction is sort of like, I know I'm supposed to work with you. I know I'm supposed to pay whatever the amount is. I don't even understand what I'm buying. And I've actually had to do some work on that. And even just recently today, um, I did some energetic work and shifted a belief because I had the belief that to be like it's a sin to be elusive. It's almost like it's evil for me to hide, you know, and not be able to share what it's going to be like to work with us. But the reality is it's going to be an adventure. You know, I mean, if you book a cruise for the first time in your life, it's sort of like you've heard about it, you think you know what it is, but honestly, you're booking the cruise because you want to go on the adventure. You want to be surprised and delighted in a new way. And so I had this belief that it like was not a good idea to be elusive. Like I needed to be clear and I needed to have like this all drawn out and spelled out and like almost the old style of contract level. You know, like, is that in the contract? Honestly, I don't even think the contracts are going to matter that much. Like, I just think there's such a huge shift happening. So I'm really connecting with what you're saying.
Yeah, one thing we just talked about was how going forward, as far as business development goes, we need to lead energy first. The, these people are going to want to connect with our energies. They're going to want to buy like that magic. That's the thing that's going to resonate with them. And it's like, yeah, you know what? It's not me fast talking circles around people and baffling them with my wisdom and my sales expertise and things like that. It's accidentally on purpose, just leading with who you are, what you're supposed to be doing at this point in time in your life, and how we're going to go about helping people. And I think that's one of the things that Katya and I have done recently is we've really changed the way we're going to be doing things. Not not because we didn't like the old ways. The old ways were working. It's just that it's a need. We're needing to change and do things differently, and it's part of that evolution. And it feels good, actually. It feels good to be on the cusp of that new thing, even though it's scary. And we're kind of trying to use the universe to bring these new people that we want in our circle, in our lives, and us being able to help them, because we actually don't want to help people like we did in the old ways. Kathy's tired of that. She wants to help in the new ways.
I love that you guys are embracing it a lot better than I like. You might not know it from my socials or from what I say sometimes, but internally, I do have a conflict where like I can see things. I'm kind of a seer, intuitive, you know, I have this deep knowing, but then there's this part of me that's like, but I want somebody else to go first and lead the way, you know? And then there's another part of me that's like, and Jamie, really? If you're a pioneer, do you think there's going to be other people that are leading? Like, yes, there can be those of us that are pioneering together, but I do feel like when there's sort of this huge shift that's happening, someone has to pioneer it. And I'm really not a great follower, so I don't know why I think that that's what I want. But I was a little bit of an internal struggle some days.
I feel that, but I always hate when people copy us. I would much rather be the pioneer, taking the leap of faith with my wife and being like, oh, hey, at least we were ahead of the game, and something must have worked because those people, they saw what we were doing and they're mimicking it or doing it their way. But I would much rather that than try and follow somebody else's lead.
I'm assuming you guys are together on this. Yeah.
We're together on this. We are. Although, I mean, I don't care about the copycat stuff anymore, because I feel like if you're going to copy this new magical, intuitive, flowy, creative piece, doesn't that make the world a better place? I don't need the credit for it. I would just rather you embody that and then spread it from there. And I think that you just being open, because you're such a mega connector, you know so many people, they just are drawn to you, that if you are embodying this shift, even if you're being led by somebody else, think about all the people you're touching. It's almost like the light's coming out of you in all these directions, and it's just lighting up every other person around you. It's like there's this creative spark happening.
I don't know if you've been in sessions with the people that I work with on this stuff behind the scenes. Because one of them said, she's like, you're like the lighthouse leading the way for the rest of us, like opening it up. And then one of the first hypno sessions I ever did was about 3 years ago. And I felt it, I was afraid to shine. I thought that if I shine, that's going to dim someone else's light instead of the reality, which is when we shine, we give other people permission. But I didn't know that. And of course, it came back to a fear, childhood, like I'm going to make my sister not look, like my fear was I'm always outshining my sister, like every time she's trying to get a chance to shine, there I am. Like I remember, she gets, like goes to graduate school or something and I'm getting engaged, and she goes to get engaged and I'm having a baby. Like it just felt like I wasn't trying to compete, but it felt like I was taking away from something from her. And so then internally I had this, it's not safe to shine. And so the work that I've done over this last year is realizing that when I shine, it gives other people permission to shine. So I love the light reference that you brought up.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel the lightness in you. As soon as you popped onto the screen, I'm like, whoa, there is something light and airy about you right now. It's a really nice energy.
Yeah, she's living our life.
No, it's not that.
I love it.
Oh man,
Well,
I still remember when I did a podcast with Jamie and we were in Phoenix and I was telling her about this idea, and me and Katya have been just like, oh, we're gonna get more and more south, and we're really at this crossroads right now where we're really taking this leap of faith because yeah, we're noticing that it's not just like during COVID, it was just we were getting clients hand over fist, like not even trying. It for some reason we were just it was our time. Like we couldn't leave the house. We were going to work from sun up to sundown. We might as well make the most of it. And now it's it's a lot quieter, and we're really getting intentional about who we want to work with. And but that takes a leap of faith. That's it's like okay, we didn't make X dollars this month. Hopefully, we can do that in the next month or two.
but I think I could be wrong, but I think your entire industry is feeling it. I don't
think
think
so.
yeah,
I,
I don't
I agree.
think it's just you.
bet
And
you.
I think
I think most people are lying about it because they're not. They're just like, oh yeah, we're busy. Yeah, no, it's good. Everything's
yeah,
good. Yeah.
yeah. And I think that there are other businesses that are going to follow. Like if we look at it from this perspective, that the marketing industry is that runner, the pioneer. But the idea is we all have to go internal. We all need to regroup, make sure that we're in alignment in this next phase. And what worked before isn't going to work again. Like people don't want to work for companies that they don't resonate with. This isn't about just getting a paycheck. I mean, literally, you can try and shove that down people's throats. I don't think the next generation is going to buy it. I just don't believe there. And the problem is that I'm also seeing is that I don't want the older generation to become irrelevant, but when you ignore what's here, your voice, the voice doesn't even connect. Like if I've been doing webinars or I guess you could say more like workshops on alignment and helping people, recognize the power of alignment and how to know when you're out of alignment, like what shows up in your body, what shows up in your partnerships, what shows up in your business. And I did, the idea is that we all have unique gifts and talents, and that if we're in alignment with ourselves, that it might be super different than for somebody else, right? Like we're super unique. Let's acknowledge that. And there's still people that want to share with me what works for them. That's really great, but I it's not relevant to me. Like, did I just get done telling you that? Like,
Yeah.
So I think even that model of this is what I've done, because that's been a lot of the sales. Here's what's worked for me. Here's what should work for you. And honestly, it's not connecting for me unless you like, how does that work for me? Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
You're making sense because right now we're restructuring KP Design, and what's coming through, I'm sitting in all of this intuitiveness and downloads, and I'm like, holy smokes, how do I package this so that it makes sense in the old marketing way? And I can't do it. So what I have to learn to do is to create a fluid container. I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but it has to be a fluid container where it has the ability to move and shift and hold the space for what you need it to be. You're coming to me as a unique soul. I need to pick up on the frequency of that. And for you, this is what it is. And for somebody else, that's what it is. So it's unnameable, never mind then putting a price on it. Like everything is very fluid right now.
Again, I just want to speak to your insights because this is fun. We could do this for a while. This is fun. I used to be in the storage industry. When I was in the family business, my parents started in custom home building early on, but my dad got into the storage industry in the early 80s. So I literally grew up in the business. I mean, we can talk about that another time, but
Storage wars.
Storage wars, exactly. We used to hold our own, and it was really just for entertainment. We literally had 150 people on our list that wanted to know when we had a unit going up for auction. And so I felt like we were the town's entertainment. We would send out an email saying, this weekend, guys. And like, oh my word, it was the best news for the 150 people on our list. But no, I've been laughing as I realized that I'm in the space industry again. You know, like in self-storage, we were creating space. We were selling space. And now I'm in the space industry again in creating this space for people. And it's like twisting my mind a little bit, but almost laughable. Like, so in the storage industry, it's about how much space do you need? You know, what size do you need it to be? And I think that's what you're talking about, Tati. Like, I need to create space based on where you're at. And with Believe Crew, the way that we're structuring it is sort of in that same way. Like, I want it to be very flexible, that our practitioners are able to meet the clients where they are, and that they have the flexibility, that I trust their intuition, that they're going to be able to see what the client needs, and the client, you know, like trusting that process instead of creating this structure that is me controlling the process. I just don't see that as the business of the future.
No, it's like we're getting pinged. We're getting pinged by the next thing. And then it's up to us to create the space to allow the expression of that to come through. The expression is changing. I'm not a web designer and a branding expert anymore. You know, like now it's something totally different. And that's where the living archetypes have really come in handy. It's like, okay, wait a minute. What does it mean to be the alchemist? Because it doesn't matter if I'm doing branding, websites, home design, interior design, whatever it is, whatever expression it is at that moment, it's still the energy of the alchemist. That's still my frequency. So that has been a major shift. And for Alex to figure out that he's the guardian has been unbelievable.
And I also love the fact that we've really been talking about Believe Crew, but we've been talking about our beliefs and our belief systems and our beliefs and almost how they stack on top of each other like Legos, and how those beliefs shape our realities completely. And that's a fascinating thing to me, especially the way my mind works. Like, I'm breaking it down like calculus, and you know, how big is this belief, and how much of a sliver is this belief. And one of the exercises that we were doing even last night as we were talking is we were talking about like audibly saying, this is what my belief is around this subject. And then Kathy will laugh. She's like, well, that's ridiculous. And I'm like, well, what's your belief around that? And then she'll say, oh, and then I'll laugh. I'm like, oh my goodness, our beliefs are insane. Our beliefs are crazy. And it's true. As soon as you say it out loud, it's like, wow. Honestly, Jamie, if there was like a Believe Crew test where it's like, okay, let's break down your pie chart of what your actual beliefs are around this, this, and this. Say it out loud. Now let's let's wash that away, and let's create some new healthy beliefs and actually reset that system. And I bet you $10. I'll bet you $10 that your entire world would completely change.
I say that you don't get what you want, you get what you believe. And there's another way of saying it that I've heard, which is you don't get what you want, you get who you are, or you get who you're being. But I believe who we're being comes from our beliefs. And Kevin and I have done that same thing where Kevin will tell me what he believes, and I'm like, I don't believe that at all. Like, I don't know. That's your belief and it's not mine. And when you start to recognize that, like in our house, our kids will call us out. You know, I think I'm the parent, and then I have these kids that are now intuitive, and they're like, Mom, I don't have that belief. Like, awesome. Okay, I guess I'll go deal with my issues. And I love what you're pointing out too when you talk about, you and Kati talking about these things and even talking, obviously we're not just working normal jobs, we're talking all the time when we're in business together. But that's one of the other things that Kevin and I like the more we get in alignment and like I know my gifts and we haven't named it exactly, like the alchemist and the guardian, but it's very similar. Like I know I'm a prophecy and a seer and people come to me for clarity, vision, like I'm truth talking. And Kevin is, harmony and like all this nice stuff that I'm not. he's, he's a healer. And so anyway, but once we both accepted our gifts and then start to learn how do we operate in them, then let's look at the partnership. And when I look at our partnership and what we're here to create together, we create unity together. With how we operated behind the scenes for the first version of our marriage, I would not call that creating unity. And so when I actually accept that this is our gift and I look back and I'm like, people called us before they were going to call the divorce lawyer. And so far, those people haven't gotten divorced. Like we've been creating unity. We just didn't know because, again, how do we be in alignment with ourselves, know our own gifts in our partnership? And the thing that I'm on a mission, I think, to talk about now that Kevin and I really is part of our mission and calling is to recognize that as life partners, we're already in business together. Even if you don't have a business, you're choosing what to do with your financials. You're saying, this is how I'm going to support the world. And you're choosing how to spend your dollars, what to invest in, the people around you that you want to give money to. So we're creating these mini businesses every time we create these partnerships. And we're just not even like aware that this is what we're doing. So I want to shine a light on that.
Definitely. And I would say that the more Kati and I get in alignment with each other, the quicker and better the output is. I feel like, and I'm going to be hard on myself because I always am, I always feel like it takes me longer. She's just quick.
Did you say
quick.
Always, Alex? Okay, quick thing. When you say always or never, it exposes a belief system. So you get to choose whether you want to keep that or not. But yes, you have a belief that she's always quicker. And I will say that Kevin and I have a similar thing where I finally had some therapy moments with ChatGPT and it said, Jaime, you're in the small percentage of the world that gets an instant knowing and an instant download. And your husband needs 3 days to a week to think about every conversation that you just talked about.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, ChatGPT. Thank you, Jaime. I need 3 to 5 days to get, to drag my grounded butt to wherever the air is, and I'll get there. I'm doing the best I can. I'm a very grounded individual, grounded in reality. I would even say the old version of me was such a dream killer, because if the dream was too big, how? Like who the heck are we to get that dream, right? Belief systems. So I will say I've come a long way. I am not, Kathy's like, okay, we're gonna do this, and my first response is no longer to crap on it. And I'm proud of me for that. I'm super proud of me for that. I'm like, okay, she's got this big crazy dream. All of a sudden my heart is racing because it's terrifying because I'm a man and I have to like make this thing happen. Otherwise my wife's going to hate me and leave me, and I'm not I'm not a good provider. And those, right? We're talking about belief systems. It's like there's a reason why these things happen.
What you're saying, I absolutely believe that Kevin has felt, because he does not want to disappoint me. And ultimately he wants me to he wants to be so loving, but that's not the way it comes across when it's scarcity related, or he thinks he's keeping me safe. Like my immediate reaction is sort of like, this is the worst thing you could do to me, is take away that abundance dream that I'm just like, be a dream killer, Yeah. But I totally get it now from a whole different perspective, and I can give him the space. That's another thing in the relationship where I didn't realize I wasn't giving him the space to be him. I can be like an attorney, not just in the paperwork that I generate, but in my quick responses, like a litigation attorney. And let's just say that I probably make a really good comedian when I'm mad, and I can play both sides. Like poor Kevin is not keeping up. So I'm like, and you're probably thinking, and then you're, and he's laughing because I'm not far off, but like I'm on a roll now. So anyway, Alex, yes, everything to everything you're saying.
And I'll say, with maturity comes letting the dreamer dream and let it play out in their mind before I actually go to work. because just because you dream something, that doesn't actually mean that that's your heart's desire. They're just playing. And but I used to take all of it on like, oh my God, I have to do this. Like I have to do this, and this, or she's gonna leave me, or she's not gonna love me, and or I'm a failure as a husband. And it's like, holy smokes, like seriously, we got like all these crazy things happening in the background that I don't think a woman could ever imagine, and vice versa. We have absolutely no idea what's going on in your world.
The thing is that, so we started this conversation with my question about your industry and what you guys see, and I think being that marketing and branding is going to be sort of the forefront in this intuitive transition, personal branding, like people needing to realize I can't just create a menu of services. There needs to be a total connection to who you are, and you need to know who you are. The other thing that I see is around what you just talked about with men, because there is this power in intuition that men have shut off a lot of. It's not that women have it so much more. It's just that we've allowed it to be there enough so that as this business shifts, we're like, oh, I think I'm ready for that. There's stuff that we have to work through, but we're maybe more ready versus the emotional side. I try asking a guy to feel something in his body, and he's just like, I don't feel anything. Well, I'm going to be the one to break it to you. This is the way of the future. Our brain is moving from everything being logic based. And trust me, I love a good P&L and a good balance sheet conversation, but EBITDA and cash flow are not going to be the thing driving the future business. And it's going to be heart based. And I need your nervous system to be able to keep up with the bigness of who you're being called to be. And if you can't feel something in your body, come back, because we're going to have this conversation again.
It's totally true. I've said for the longest time that I didn't even think I had intuition. That's how much I shut it off. I basically relied on my wife to be intuitive. And then anything that kind of came to me, I would dismiss as stupid or nobody wants to hear that. And I just need to just put my head down and work or provide. And I would say a lot of people have been programmed that way. A lot of guys have been programmed that way. Gen X for sure is most likely programmed that way, that if you are trying to be artistic, I was even thinking about this today on our walk. I didn't mention this to Kati. I was thinking about singing. Like if I sang as best as I could, and even if it sucked, it would hurt me so bad if somebody laughed at me, and I probably would never sing again, especially if I tried my best to just do a good job. And that clam would shut so tight, it would never happen again. And I'm like, oh man. And I don't know why that popped into my head. Maybe it's because we were supposed to talk to you today, but those are the kinds of things that I think that our generation, we got scarred with when we wanted to show a gift or show an emotion. And that dickhead kid named Ryan, he just laughed at us, or Kevin, laughed at us.
We
Not
find that, thank you. We find that a lot of addicts, and this is making a blanket statement without having data behind it, full data, but what our experience has been is that a lot of addicts have actually been very gifted healers, intuitives, and they had like an early trauma, and it was just too much. It's just not worth fighting. And so they just shut it all down, and they didn't know what to do with their gifts.
That's so painful.
Mm-hmm.
Even I was walking, I was like, wow, it was an incredibly painful feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably why I don't sing, or I'm scared to get laughed at. I'm scared to be mocked. I'm scared for people to tell me that I'm dumb. Or I was telling Kati on a previous episode, it's like, if you want to get under my skin, if you want to really piss me off, you tell me that I'm dumb and I can't do something. That'll light the fire, like harder than anything else will.
One of my sons just told my other son that. So I'm like, oh, like having a room full of boys and not all of them being in a healthy place at the same time. Mm-hmm. They don't say nice things to each other sometimes. Mm-hmm.
I think that Alex speaking about him shutting off his intuitiveness and relying on me for mine, I would say in the past few years, it's been, okay, here's my intuitive input. However, you have access to the exact same information. So every time he comes to me, I'm like, okay, here's what I'm getting, but you can do it too. So I feel like it's a little bit more of the woman's responsibility now to retrain the man, because he has been trained through feminism and all sorts of things to shut it down, to be less powerful, to make sure that the woman is always like front and center and equal and blah, blah, blah. I think there's a retraining piece here, and there's a nuance to that.
I can completely connect with what you're saying. Kevin told me during COVID that he just deferred to me. And it was like this almost like betrayal moment, like I thought we were both in agreement on this stuff, and finding out that he's just been deferring to me. I'm like, it's your turn to wake up and like accept your own intuition, your own, own your own, like what your own knowing. And so I think we've had an epidemic of, but again, if we look at it from a societal, we're in a change, we're in a shift, and it's okay. Like you and I having these conversations that we were just in the last couple of years turning around and saying, you know what, I don't want you to defer to me anymore. Like I want you to feel it and know it. I don't think that's unusual or odd that we had that happen at the same time. Like I think there's this shift happening. And then the other, speaking of like, say, things shifting and sort of accepting our intuition, accepting our gifts, we're moving from like organizational structures like hospitals and schools to more of an individual. And I've been sort of studying this, watching it, seeing it. And then I jumped on a normal networking call with she's a lawyer or attorney that does M&A, like when people are buying and selling businesses, she does the paperwork for them. And she jumps on this call and she says, yeah, it's really strange right now. What we're seeing is that it's a lot of seller financing and we're not doing a lot of banking deals. And I was like, oh, that's fascinating. Like here it is. It's already showing up in just normal conversations. So I'm excited to see what else is going to shift.
I think a lot. I think there's a lot shifting.
And then also to that intuitive piece, now I'm so energetically clear and I trust my intuition and I trust that knowing, like you said, Alex, before you just like dismiss it, like any of those feelings in the past or those things that came up, it was like, oh, that's weird, whatever, moving on, or you just don't even really acknowledge it. Versus now I trust it so much. Like when someone comes to mind, I reach out, I make a connection, and people more often than not will say, I was just thinking about you. You've been on my mind a lot lately. And I'm kind of like, I know. Like, I just trust, like, this is why it's coming up. There's a reason.
I've been, oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I've been really overwhelmed lately when I've sat in quiet and I've come up with a few inventions and I'm almost overwhelmed with how scary, good they are and how they could really change. One, I shelved. I invented it like 10 years ago. And the other one just came to my mind. I'm like, holy smokes, this is kind of a big thing. And I'm excited to get into it. And then, we get into our regular routines of the days. And then these things, these super ideas that we have, they get shelved and they collect dust. And this has been a recurring thing for me. And this is one of the things that I need to listen to my intuition when I get these downloads of these things. Even if people don't get it or they think it's dumb or whatever, it doesn't matter that's my knowing piece now. It doesn't matter what they think. I know
it's easier said than done. It's easier said than done. I do listen and watch a lot of entrepreneurs, and I think about even J.K. Rowling with Harry Potter series, which I've never read, but I know it's huge. And the amount of no's that she got before she got a yes. I mean, it's just incredible when you listen to the stories of how many other people do not believe in whatever it is that we're called to bring. And that's why Kevin and I talk about like entrepreneurial life as a calling. And like there's something we're called to do, something we're called to bring to the world, a way we're called to serve. And it might not make any sense to anyone else. I say now that we're being irresponsible, if you want to look at it that way. But like, who defined responsible? Because I got to tell you, it feels really good.
Yeah, I can imagine it does.
And I had this conversation yesterday about being an inventor or being this intuitive person and bringing this thing forward and birthing it, but not having the legs in order to see. You need bridges. I feel like you just can't do it all. You need that person, that venture capitalist, that person who sees it, that can take it to that next level. maybe you don't get $1 billion out of the deal. Maybe you just get 10%, but at least you can see the thing get finalized exponentially because you just don't have those resources yet.
You're talking to someone that loves connections and collaboration, so I'm all in, Alex. Katya, I want to hear what you were, had coming to mind.
For me, it was just because as you guys were talking, I'm like, some things I can connect something here, because while the business is shifting, we feel the market shifting. We know that we have to respond differently. I feel the exact same thing in our marriage. The marriage is shifting, and that's not a bad thing, because a marriage is not just a stable, it's energy. It's constantly shifting, evolving, transforming. And even just talking to Alex last night, I'm like, you know what? Our biggest aha moment lately has been, I'm just a mirror for you and you're a mirror for me. When he says he's not intuitive, he purposely found himself a deeply intuitive person to mirror that back to him, because it's there. It's innately there. Everybody has access to it. But you choose the people around you to mirror it back so you can see it and then embody it, like just to know it and feel it. So there's the shifting in the marriage is happening at the same time as the shifting out in the industry. And I think that that's not a coincidence. And the lines of business and home and life blurred totally.
Totally. Oh my word. Mic drop.
and my mirror moment for her was the thing that I loved about her the most was her loyalty. And then when she said that it's a mirror back to me, it's like, oh man, I'm not loyal to myself. I'll sell myself down the river. Oh man, I just like almost broke my own heart last night while we were talking that, oh, wow, I'll sell myself out. I'll do this and to make somebody else happy, or I'll sacrifice myself to do these things. And Kathy's always giving me crap for giving away too much of myself with not enough in return for me. And I'm just constantly leaking energy, and it's this thing. I'm not loyal to myself.
Owning our personal power and accepting how powerful we are. And like, there was something that you said even about your ideas, like accepting how amazing our ideas could be and how amazing we are and just what we're capable of creating. That's the journey of, like, somebody said to me, when I asked her what was it like to work with us, and she's like, you helped me not only see my gifts and understand what they were, but you helped me accept my gifts and then learn how to use my gifts. And so I think all of those pieces are important. Like, we can't just be like, yay, I have gifts. That's exciting.
Right.
Because I don't know about you, but I didn't accept all of them right away. Like, it's not what we've been trained to do.
Integration is a thing, and I would say Kathy's had a lot of practice now, so she's magical to me because she's had all this practice. And eventually I'll impress myself when I'm like 55 years old and walking around with a cane.
There's a date and a time.
Yeah.
No, actually,
that's just
speaking
how I
of
roll.
age, Alex, speaking of age, what I see, because we do work with a lot of older clients, and when I say older, it's not old clients, it's just that they're at that place where sometimes people think that they want to retire, or that what they should be working towards is retirement, and they're like, I'm not done yet. Like, I still have something left in me and I want more, and I'm here to give more. And so the idea of, say 58 to 62, where all of a sudden it's like, I'm not ready to be done yet. There's something. But I also see at that same time more doubt and fear, than I ever thought. And I remember that even with my dad, where he'd been in business, at that point for 40 years. And he felt less confident in his ability, because I think same thing, if we're not trained on what our internal gifts are and who we are by just showing up, like our presence. Your presence, if you and Katya didn't even say anything, is enough, right? Your vision is enough. And when we show up at a funeral, we don't have to say anything, but our presence means something to people. And instead, my dad grew up believing that how hard he worked was how he was valued. And so as he got older, there were more doubts and fears and less feeling like almost more feeling like he was failing. It was really hard to watch, especially for someone that the rest of the world was like semi-jealous of, with his financial freedom and what he had created, and, the businesses. And Kevin and I were watching a clip the other day from someone that interviews entrepreneurs. And this guy was a very successful entrepreneur. And he said that there was a moment 4 years ago where he almost committed suicide. And it was because when you realize the money didn't matter, and like you want to feel fulfilled and you don't know what that is because you've been chasing something else. Like, it's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Speaking of the aging population, like this has always been a passion for me. I am naturally drawn to the older generation. I love the way they feel. Their experience means something to me. I can feel it. And the other, like, couple of weeks ago, I went into a beautiful art gallery, and the woman there, who is an artist herself, I was going in with the intention of finding my daughter a mentor. Said she is so gifted at art. I need somebody to mentor her. And the woman was like, well, I'm not doing it. I'm not mentoring her. And she was a senior. And it took everything I had not to leap across the counter and throttle her. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're in a position where you are the actual mentor. Like, you're coming into eldership. You need to give back to the people coming up behind you. Like, you have a gift to give. And I don't know, is this ego or doubt or fear, but something is in the way, and you're doing a disservice to yourself and everybody else. Oh, I took everything I had not to burn her down.
I was scared. But I can totally relate to having to suffer, to having to sacrifice, having the harder I work, the more value I bring to the table, the more sweat, the more blood, like literal blood. If I'm putting blood on the floor, people will value me more. And I don't know, I'm so done with that.
It's not going to work with AI. It's literally not going to work. I mean, the job, the way that life, and I think in such a beautiful way, we have such a beautiful opportunity because it's no longer about what we know, because all the knowledge in the world is available at everyone else's fingertips. It's about who we are.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I had a moment yesterday too. I think it was yesterday when Sandy was talking to me, and she's like, you just impacting, you showing up and being there for people or being around people. It's like, that's one of the greatest gifts that you can give. And I almost lost it right there. I was like, oh man, here I am. I think I got to slit my wrists and bleed everywhere in order for people to value me.
I mean, you think about the natural progression of the hero's journey and the human life. You're going to reach a point midlife and onward where you cannot give the same amount of energy in the same way. Your body will just stop. You can't do it. And if all of your self-worth is tied into the idea that it's all about the hard physical work, you will be disappointed. You're going to disappoint yourself. You're going to feel that everyone around you is being disappointed. So it's a reframing. Where are my actual gifts? What can I lead into? What is the power that I'm meant to bring forward?
Yeah.
I think we're in agreement.
Yeah, it's.
I was ready for this conversation.
Yeah. What other questions you got for us?
Right.
That was just one. That was just one question.
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's such a good time talking to you, Jamie. You're it's fun to watch you and Kati bounce ideas off of each other, and yeah, I don't know. I'll totally accept my powers eventually. Just got to give me 3 days.
Yes, exactly.
I'll eventually
right.
get there. I'll eventually get there. But it's and I was telling Kati, one of my beliefs is I have this even Steven belief. And it sounds so stupid that if something good happens right around the corner, something bad's going to happen, and it'll just always balance it out.
Like waiting for the other shoe to drop kind of a thing.
I can never have too much good. I don't know why that is scientifically, or it's in my subconscious programming, but it just never fails. But I will say this, in my old age and my wisdom, I don't take it personal anymore. I'll take a deep breath. I'll deal with whatever. And, hopefully it's not something completely tragic, but, if something breaks and I got to fix something, no big deal. It's just an opportunity for me to prove to everybody how amazing I am. I'll just fix it.
What's coming to mind is to share, if this is beneficial. It's been very beneficial to us over this last year, is about feeling the things in our body and feeling the fears and allowing ourselves to feel those fears and feel the doubts and to name them. Like, there's something really powerful about letting acknowledging it and then being willing to release it, right? Do we want to keep it anymore? And one of the check-ins that we do now is what percentage is that true? Like when we can get a belief to shift at 100%, like where all of a sudden it's like, huh, I don't actually feel that same way anymore. It's an incredible process. It's like Kevin and I are two completely different people. When you shift the belief, all of a sudden our entire perspective changes and we don't even think the same way. And it was literally 5 minutes ago that we thought the other way. So this whole way of being now, it's incredible. I'm very, very excited and thankful. And the thing is, what I've learned in Believe Crew is that when I'm working with clients that don't want to do the work, it's not just disappointing. It feels like an impossible task. You know, like you're paying me to keep showing up, but you don't actually want to create space in your life because being busy is safer. And so literally the amount of sabotage in the world right now, because people don't want to let go of their fears and the beliefs that have been keeping them safe up to this point. That's great. I totally understand that they've been serving you, but they're not going to with where you want to go. And so you're hiring me saying you want to go somewhere else, but you don't want to release the beliefs that are keeping you back. Like this is just not even a fun process. So now it's like a non-negotiable that working with the people that will help you shift the beliefs is required to work with me because I'm not doing all this work alone.
But it's wild that you said that because I was just having that thought today about how most people want to be led. Most people just want to be led. They don't want to do the hard thing. They say they do, but they would rather have Jamie do it for them.
I can only do it to a certain extent. And then after that, like you'll sabotage whatever I do. I mean, it doesn't even matter. And I saw this happen in the previous businesses that I was in. And that's why I started studying it early on, because I was like, we're having this conversation about sales. And you know that we need to have more sales or that it's possible to have more sales, but yet we keep running into the same upper limit set point. Like, what in the world am I supposed to do about this? And at the end of the day, you know, if you were to ask her, I think she would blame me. And I just saw this incredible thing happening where she had an upper limit set point of selling $30,000 a month. And if she sold 60,000, which she did in a job one time, she didn't have any sales the next month. Like it was to the point where it was worth it for the data. I'm not going to, like the amount of money it cost me to get this information. Like, let's just not even talk about it at that point. But incredible what our beliefs will do when we are not willing to look at them. Or that one that I told you about at the beginning of this podcast, that what was it exactly? Something like it's a sin to be elusive. If you look back at mine and Kevin's conversations over the last 6-12 months, maybe even longer, I was so frustrated about how I didn't know what we were selling. And like I kept leaning into this and I'd be like, it's making me mental. It's making me crazy. Like the way that we would even talk about it. Like at what point, Kevin and I, like, how did we not go, Jamie, maybe we should check for a belief here? Because like we're pretty much, if you think your business has a marketing problem, an operations problem, or if you think your partnership, if the partner's the problem, finance, money is the problem, pretty much if I look in the mirror and I shift my belief, those things are no longer the problem. And it's wild.
It's very powerful.
You know what I noticed is that the actual belief has its own energy and frequency and feel and essence. And the denser that the belief is, the more of a reaction you get in your body. If you're aware of the feeling and what's happening in your body, Alex vanquished a belief in yoga the other day and had his first nosebleed of his entire life. That's how dense it was, that it had to come out that way. It's like, holy smokes, you have to be in tune with the feelings in your body.
We tell people, but sometimes we forget, because when Kevin does this healing work for other people, he's yawning and burping and coughing and sometimes like hacking up a lung and like looks like he's almost going to throw up. And so when like 2 years ago or so, when we first started doing this work and I didn't know that his body was reacting to the releasing, both for himself and when he was doing work for others, I was like, could you at least say, excuse me, every time you burp that much? Like at first I was like totally just disgusted that he didn't even acknowledge how much he was burping and not saying, excuse me, And now I'm like, it's just a wonderful thing. Like the amount of work he's doing for me and for others, like, thank you for all that burping.
Right?
It's so
Oh,
great.
man.
Yawning.
Funny.
Like, I'm not worried about you being tired on the call. Like, you're yawning because you're releasing something. Oh, it's incredible
Yeah.
stuff.
I was going to say one of the most powerful exercises I ever did that I didn't realize was an exercise was when Katya and I went to couples therapy one time, and I had to verbalize the story that I was telling myself about what she thinks of me. If you want a ridiculous exercise, say out loud what somebody else thinks about you and have them sit there and listen and look at you, and then them actually tell you what's really going on in their head. Wow, that was such a humbling moment. And at the same time, she got to see what was inside of me. It was a really powerful exercise. And I think that anybody who doesn't go to couples therapy or speak openly, I think that they're victims of the stories in their own head, and the crap that their mind, like the stuff that our mind tells us is ridiculous. It's not reality.
Mhm.
And the
But
more you can verbalize it.
In my experience, it was not safe to do therapy in my family. And part of that is because abuse was tolerated and shoved under the rug. And so the story is that the therapist is the bad guy, And so that was what I grew up with. I didn't know. And people around me, when they found out that I was getting into coaching, oof, like, I hate coaching. What you're doing is going to take you, out of having a connection with God and like being religious. I mean, like, I heard all kinds of things. And, interestingly enough, without their beliefs on me, I actually felt like I was more connected, like I understood the Bible in a new way. And like, I was so excited about things. But because of that, I don't know if they call it, I don't know, there's words, cognitive dissonance coming to mind, but I don't know that that's the right thing. But because it was such a different perspective, it did impact me at first. Like, it was a hard thing to let go of and go, why is everyone that I trust and look up to and respect so against what I feel called to?
Resistance, right? In the resistance is the energy to help us move forward into the thing that we're meant to be. So anytime resistance comes, yes, it's shocking as it's meant to be, but also thank you, because in that there is a gift.
I love that reminder. You make it sound so simple. And we used to own escape rooms, and we always, like, what we took away and what we learned from that is that people pay for the resistance. They pay for the challenge. And if you try and give them clues or help them get out early, technically you're taking that experience away from them, and like, it was a waste of money. So our game masters, we would have to train them and be like, they don't want you to give them clues that make it so that they get out before the timer, so that they're 20 minutes early, and like, they don't want that. They're paying for the experience and the resistance, right? And so why do I think that I need to make it so easy, or that it always needs to be easy, or that resistance is a bad thing? Anyway, this has been great. Thank you.
Right? I mean, Alex and I were just talking that how are we going to talk about all the things that we went through last night with each other, just talking all this out. Thank God it was you coming on the call today, because this was the exact right way to flush out all the things. And you brought to the table exactly what we were thinking anyway. So it was just a really intuitive gathering of three intuitive people. Three, not two.
2.5.
Oh, brother.
I'm funny.
You know what? I'm going to get to the question that was left by the last guest, who I'm assuming you probably know, since you know a lot of our guests.
I did want to say, though, for everybody, just so you know, eventually I will beat Jamie and Kathy and be the most intuitive. So just hang in there, guys. I will win eventually.
Alex, I don't doubt you on that, because what I saw with Kevin is that, we both lost our moms in 2006 and 2007, and right around the same time that my mom died, 30 days before my sister died. So we were going through a lot of intense loss and grief. And I felt like kind of this amazing superwoman for most of my life. And at that point, when I was losing my sister and my mom, Kevin sort of like rose up as this incredible person where I got to see his gifts, and he was able to say things that like I couldn't even speak at that point, you know? And I was like, I might be kind of a steady, you know, like able to give you pretty good most of the time. But man, when Kevin does show up, it's like next level. Like, okay, well, I'll give him that he has his lows, his, you know, peaks and valleys. So I don't doubt, Alex, that it's similar. Mhm.
Nice.
All right, Kathy, I think
Jamie's
I'm
the
ready.
train. Jamie's the
Yes.
train. Always
hmm
reliable.
hmm
Well, our
I'm working
last
on
guest
that always piece. Irresponsible now. Occasionally irresponsible.
Nice.
our last guest was Jade Barrett. I'm assuming that you know who that is.
Yes.
So her question is, what would you do differently in life if you knew that you couldn't lose?
Mm. Well, I think about these things ever since my coach started asking me, you know, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail 7 years ago, you know, when I first started learning that way of thinking. And right now, the thing that I really want to lean into and do is something to do with like, I don't know if you'd call it mediation or partnership. Like, I want to be in like a boardroom type setting, or maybe it's where people are coming down to Mexico and for like, we're almost so intensely discussing this, like maybe you even have to spend the night, you know, like it's just a decision has to be made. It's so intense. Like I want to be involved in some really big discussions or some big decisions, and where my gift of this splenic intuitive knowing is so helpful to that, you know, situation, or my gifts of asking questions to help people see things in perspectives that they don't usually see. Like I want something really intense. And so there's something about that, and almost like the idea of turning something around, you know, something that could be going really, really bad, and like we're going to turn it around. I had that when my stepsister ran away, and we were looking for her, and it's a longer story, maybe a different podcast. But I think I was awake, you know, for 36 hours. Like we pulled an all-nighter, you know, looking for her.
Wow.
I want that again. I'm ready for that again. Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you just like almost like childlike excitement about the fact that you think your problem is that bad. Test me out. Lay it on me
Yeah.
because I got this.
Mhm. Yes. I had to say, like, COVID was fun for me. Like that when everyone else can't figure out what to do, I didn't know what to do either, but I loved the challenge of it. And like rallying everyone together and being like, we got to come up with, you know, here's what we know, here's what we don't know, here's what we're going to do moving forward. And it's like, I don't know. That's so much fun for me. I want to do it a little bit more. Yeah.
I love that
So thank
answer.
you for
And
that question.
just before we jumped on this, the thing that came through the loudest for me, for you, was inception of something new. This word of inception. I'm like, what does inception feel like? There's something there, that inception of something new.
Well, I look forward to your intuition and your intuitive hits. And I know based on my design that I'm here to initiate and spark and create things. And like, I don't have to be there to maintain them. Like literally, I'm here to help people with that inception potentially. Like, I don't know. It's a word I got to get a download on. Like a little bit
You're helping them seed their future, because there is power in the seed that you are activating in somebody, right? It's the seed of activation. So I get
100% what I'm doing. Yeah.
And then letting go and not having that energetic tie that drains you.
Right?
Exactly. There is a little bit of a hard piece there for me, you know, when I look back at all the relationships that I've had, and where people are like, oh my word, you changed my life, and then we don't talk to each other anymore. You know, there's a part of me like, did I? But I know that I'm here for so many more to like spark and, you know, that beginning piece, that I can't be, you know, holding on to all those conversations in the past, or all that. Like they were empowered, they got the new relationships they needed, they got the insight they needed, and like not to take that personally and like feel like I have to hold on to it is what I'm working through, actually. Yeah.
I've had to slay this dragon too in my life, where I've always wanted these like really deep bonds for long periods of time, and I've really had to come to the grips of reality that I'm not meant to be in somebody's life for their entire life.
It's a season. We're meant to be there for seasons. Yeah.
And for people like me, that's hard. It's like, oh, I want
Mhm.
friends to show up for my 80th birthday, and I want this, I want the whole town to come and show up, and maybe erect a statue. Yeah, that would be nice.
Maybe.
But maybe
Maybe.
just a little, maybe a big statue. It'll be fine, just to really show how good I am. But I don't know. That's one of the demons that I've had to slay, that I have to accept the fact that I can be there for somebody and then they just have to go on their way. And then
Mhm.
maybe I'm just not part of their life anymore,
Yeah. Not taking it personally.
and not take it personal. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Jamie, amazing time. I can't even wait for the trilogy. So thank you so much for blessing us with exactly what needed to happen today. I don't usually say that, but it was exactly what had to come through, and you were the person that helped bring it through. So everybody needs to go check out the Believe crew. Jamie is the greatest networking connector, Believe crew coach in the universe. So go to
That's my goal.
Mexico. Yeah, go to
Wow.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Visit her and her family. Stay down there. Bring your horrible problems and stay awake for 36 hours.
Okay, this is my ass. Like another situation like that Coldplay cam. I'm assuming you guys know what I'm talking
Oh, yeah,
about.
I know.
Like
With the
who
CEO
didn't know
having the
for a while.
affair.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I turned to Kevin like a couple nights after I found out about it, and I was like, what if the attorney called and said, "Hey, I need somewhere for these guys to go"? Kevin was like, "Send them down, we'll figure it out." And I was like,
Heck yeah.
yes.
Put it on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Need a safe space? Let's go.
Let's go.
Maybe
Yeah.
Coldplay
When
needs a
everything
safe
hits
space
the
now.
fan. Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard. Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway, it's been great, Jamie. I want everybody to check out Believe Crew, check out kpdesign.ca, the Pear Genius Podcast. Like, subscribe, share with everybody you know. And we're going to see you geniuses on the next episode. And keep living your genius.